This is how I paint a redeye. Now we're going to paint a redeye. Okay, again, I've got my Sharpie pen, and I'm going to darken in some of the natural marks that I've already seen. And just want to give you a rundown of what I'm doing. Basically, what you see on this redeye is this like this, and then that like that. Kind of like you would on a rockfish or any other fish that has kind of like a stripe pattern on their scales. This is kind of what you're looking at. So I just wanted to let you know that this is what we got. It's kind of like a K or an X. It's basically the back of one and then a little bit extended out from the middle. And so kind of like what you would do on a rockfish or some other kind of fish. And I'm also putting in the details, other details like on the tail. So I'll show you that real quick. And basically, now when you angle spray, it's going to darken a lot of these up and make them look almost like circles, I guess. But just do what you see. And now the back of the tail is going to be shaded and it's going to be dark, so a lot of that's not going to show up anyway. So, but just use you a good reference, and put a few details maybe on this one. And it's going to be whited anyway. And a lot of them around the cheek, you could get away with just dots, but I see them. And I'll go ahead and pan in and let you see that. Okay, now areas like this, they're going to be dark. Areas like this, right in here, right in there, right in there. And basically you're just darkening what you see. And I see stuff like this. You can get as articulate as you want with it. But, if you see them, you might want to put them in. Down here. Now this ain't going to be solid black, it's just going to be shaded. But I still want to just kind of bring it out a little. Of course, the lips and stuff, we already know how that stuff goes. But, everything in this family, I guess you could say the perch family, pretty much you highlight the mouths the same way. But I'll show you what we do next. May put a few, I don't know, down here, like, there may be a few, let's see. Okay, the first coat is white, and we're going to whiten the whole fish. With about a medium coat. Make sure you seal the fish first before you start painting it. Make sure you seal the fish before you even darken the marks in. So you want to seal the fish, put your marks in, and then use this color. Paint it white. And you don't have to put it on super strong, but because you're going to put overlying colors. Even if the pins are a little bit yellow, you're still going to put so many colors. You're going to put yellow on there anyway. But just get the front and the back of the whole fish. the belly. A lot of people ignore when they paint a Redeye. A lot of times the Redeye have white bellies, and so I'm going to try to incorporate that in this one. I've got another one video, and I didn't put the white belly on it, and so I'm going to put it in this one. And they also have green. I'm going to put green in this one too. And a lot of times they paint them and they don't put green, or they don't use green. And now I've got white pearl. I'm going to go ahead and pearl the whole fish. Every part of the fish, go ahead and get it a good pearling. The back, everything, even the belly. And go ahead and lower jaw. All that looks real good. You know, pearled up real good. Make sure you get the lower belly real good. The whole fish. Okay, now I've got bright yellow. I think it's also called cadmium yellow, depending on which company you use. But we're going to go along the back, and we're going to fade out right here just above the belly. We're going to whiten the belly up anyway again. But yeah, fade out just about above the upper belly. Leave this part down here at the very bottom. Just go ahead and leave it white. Go ahead and put a coat over the fins. Pearl's going to shine through. It's going to look good. And this bright yellow. And go ahead and do the cheek. All the cheek. Pretty much like you would if you were doing a smallmouth. Pretty much the cheek. All the gill flap. And even the lips a little bit. And then I'll show you what we do next. And I'll show you how I do this. You know, I've got my bright yellow. And I guess about a medium coat. Just enough to make your fins good and yellow. That old pearl shining through real good. You don't want to kill out the pearl. That's why I say about a medium coat, maybe even a light coat. Pearl looks real good with that yellow on it. It really does. Now we're going to go ahead and put some along the body. I'll readjust it to do the back later. And fade around. Yeah, right in here you can fade it out. I'm going to whiten the belly back again anyway, so all this is going to get yellow. Okay, now we're going to our next color. Okay, now I've got white again, and I'm gonna whiten up the belly area. And it depends on your reference too, that's for sure. A lot of references I see, it's dark even down on the belly, and they do. A lot of times they're like really dark down there. But sometimes they've got kind of a dark belly. And so I'm kind of doing it like this. I don't want it like super abrupt or anything, but you want it to be, at the base where the fins come out down here, you want it to. So pretty much the lower belly, I just kind of fade it out. The yellow comes down about right to here, and but I'll show you what we do next. This is all white. What I'm going to do with this medium green is tint the fins just a little. I kind of want it in there. Bright yellow tends to have a light green tone to it anyway. But it's not a bad color to use. Just to give hints. Just a hint of the color. And along the back, you fade out about midways down. Definitely more so on the back. Fade out about anywhere from 2/3 to midways down the back. But definitely heavier on the back. Around the eyes, don't go into the cheek area, the upper head, and right along the back. Fading out about a 1/2 inch below the lateral line. About halfway down, 2/3 halfway down, somewhere in that range. You don't want to go all the way down to the belly. Okay, now I've got a Q-tip and lacquer thinner, and I want to clean my eye off. Make sure your Q-tip is not so saturated it's going to drip down on your paint job, because that's aggravating. But you just go ahead and clean your eye off. It may take a couple of Q-tips. Okay, now I've got dark brown, and I filled my bowl a little bit full, but here's a good thing to do. Instead of having to empty a little bit back out, I use it for the back of my fins, where I've carded the back of my fins. It's a good way to empty your bowl out a little bit. I mean, it's got to be done anyway. and it's not interfering with anything that you've got to do right now. So go ahead, you know, if you accidentally overfill your bowl with your dark brown, go ahead and leave it on your last color to take care of your card of tint. Make sure you thin your paint down real good and get your pressure just right, you know, how it needs to be, and start putting your details in. Basically what we're doing, we're putting in all the details, and you're supposed to have your paint right, but you've also got to get your other stuff just right. Not only your air pressure, but air leaks, everything. Well, I'm going to go ahead and be doing this. Get the spots as good as you can. If it's too small, you know, a spot will work. But try to conform to the original mark as close as you can within reason. And then I'll be go ahead and doing this a little bit, and I'll show you a little bit later what I've got. Also, if it's a little hard to keep a steady stream and get your little small spots the way you want them, sometimes dots. Just tapping your airbrush and making little dots can help you conform to the spot the way you want it. So keep that in mind too. Plenty of thinner and retarder, stuff that will also help get your paint where you can do little pin-sized dots, which is what you need. Well, this is what I got so far, and I'm going to continue on. Along the belly, I'm fading out like I would a bass. You know, I'm not going all the way to the tail. I don't have that option. So I'm just like this one. I'll probably continue out to about there. About there. Maybe one more right there. Yeah, about right there. So it kind of faded out like you would a bass, you know. Carried out so far and it just kind of fades out. You can go to your next line, go to your next line. Now I've got my dark green again. And what I'm going to do is probably going to angle spray a little bit to bring out the fins. This tends to darken the fish up quite a bit. I don't want to do it a whole lot, but I definitely want to bring out, you know, from an extreme frontal angle. I want to bring out some of these fins. You know, you can always go back and whiten things up and do repair work and what have you. It just adds life to the fish, especially when you paint them completely white first, which I didn't have to do. Now, if it's a skin mount, your first step would have been the belly, whitening the belly up and everything, and then put your other colors right over the top of the skin without really painting it. And also, you still have the option to go back and whiten things up, you know, touch things up. So right now all I'm doing is angle spraying and trying to get a little bit of life to the fish. And the best way to do it is from an angle. And do the other side as well. Now I'm going to go ahead and darken the back up. Let's start between that little dip in the nose and go right up the back. And you notice on these fish, I go right around there. I go ahead and hit this too. And I'll readjust the fish later for the lips. It's just a little bit down, a little bit too low for me to really even get to them. So, right along the back, and the back side as well. Treat the back side with a little bit of attention too, just like you would the front. When I go around the eye, I usually come down a little bit into there and then work my way on going straight up to the top of the back. And the angle spraying brought out some of the things I was supposed to do anyway. You know, some of the things as far as scale markings and everything. would go right along the back, right along the very tip top of the back, even hitting the scale a little bit. And make another turn. And this color you want to fade out probably right at the ladder line. You can even blend it a little bit by angle spraying. Now go ahead and do the fins, which from an angle really brings out the rays. A little bit too tight. So from an extreme angle that brings the rays out, that's what you want to do. Do it from the bottom of the tail as well. You can see how it really brings out that tail markings. And we're going to go ahead and do the other fins the same way. Okay, now with my same color, my dark brown, I'm going to go ahead and kind of darken my lips up. The lower jaw, even with the open mouth, you know, you go out so far on the lower jaw, carry it down, and then let it ride. Now this front lip gets most of the spray, and then the rest of it goes and hits the front of the maxillary. Kind of hard to do with his mouth shut, but that's how it's supposed to be. Then you go back here and get the side of the nose, and you can even hit it from this thing. But that's how I get my noses. All this is gonna then you've got little shady things. Looks like there's a little bit of a something that comes out from there, goes towards the eye. Just let your reference be your guide on what you see. And there's some shady markings that come down. You gotta about 3 or 4, and they go down so far. You don't want to go too dark with them. And that's about it. Just want to see a hint. And they don't even go all the way down to the bottom. They just kind of fade out before you get to the bottom. About 3 or 4, something like that. And I'll show you what we do next. I've got my dark brown again, and basically I'm just going to highlight the fins from an extreme angle. We just want to bring the rays out. And you do that to all the fins. And even this one, since we're able to get it, we might as well be in a good position to get it. So we're going to get it. So the paint just grows on. Now we're going to start to fish. Oh, we got to get everything else we got, okay? Everything else we got. I guess you call it highlighting the fins. But what it is I come down in between, you get so much of a bite. And make sure it's good and dark. Basically, we're darkening the outer edges of the fin. That's what it's called. If you feel like you got to kind of blend it in a little where it's too harsh, you know, you don't want it to look extremely harsh. You want it to look neat and dark on the ends, but you want it to match. Do the same thing with the tail. There again, if you want to blend it in a little bit, you kind of, you know, take some of the harshness out of the bite, I guess you could say. It's pretty dark. And the same with this fin. Bottom is right here on the bottom, about the lower third. And of course we do this one too. About a third of it. Get a good bite on it. I guess about medium intensity or something. I've got a little bit of bronze. I know it's a metallic, but it does off the yellow a little bit, and it gives it a little bit of sparkle. It's a real good color for the fins. I really like to use it on the fins. And it offs the yellow a little bit. Gold toner would be perfect for this. But this is bronze. And all I'm wanting to do is not only add sparkle, but just take a little bit of the brightness of the bright yellow out. And now we're going to go to gill red. Okay, now I've got gill red. And just like I would do on the smallmouth, the yellow and bronze that's on there, I'm tinting it with the red. Not much, just a hint. So all you want is just a hint of that red on there. That's a little bit harsh. That's it for the red. And Basecoat Sealer, I've got that right now. It's not wrong to put this in between coats. It also gives you an idea what you got going on. Like a lot of times things are hard to see, kind of like you've got too much sheen or a little bit cloudy or something. Basecoat Sealer will let you know exactly what you have or what you don't have, as the case may be. The head right in here looks like it might be a little bit light. I may get a little bit more dark brown. And I could even go over the whole side of the fish with a slight coat of dark brown. Yeah, just slight coat, maybe not even angled spraying. Yeah, with the base coat sealer, it kind of lets you know what your colors are. And I think I'm gonna get a little bit more dark brown and darken the top of the head up just a little bit. It looks a little bit light to me. Okay, now I've got my dark brown. Oops, sorry. Now I'm going to go ahead and darken the top of the head a little bit more. Some small little bit of detail I didn't do on this side. Sometimes these guys can be a little bit dark. I don't know if you can see it with the glare. There's so much glare in Basecoat Sealer didn't help. But I may even put a white mist over the whole fish. A lot misty. I'm going to go ahead and clean that off and gloss the fish. Okay, now we're going to clean the eye off. Now it's going to be a lot easier too, because now we don't have to worry about all the white that was on there, and you're not going to have a white ring because we cleaned it off beforehand. And give the fish a gloss top coat or with a brush. In this case, I've got a brush. If you're afraid it's going to wash out some of your colors, feel free to use Basecoat Sealer or something first. Seems to help. Gloss top coat is good enough by itself. Just make sure you put it on where it's good and nice and wet. I use Minwax because it's like non-yellowing. Some of it has a slight bit of yellow to it anyway when it goes on. Just make sure you use a good one if you decide to go this route. But this is one way I paint my red eye. There's several different ways to paint them.